Misogyny, abuse and the harassment of women has always had a stake in society, but as we live more life online, it's starting to transform. And the numbers, well, they don't paint a good picture. The Centre for Countering Digital Hate found Instagram failed to act on 90% of abuse received by women via direct messages. It also found Instagram failed to act on 9 in 10 violent threats over message. And a 2020 global study by Plan International showed 1 in 5 females reduced their use of a social media app due to online harassment. So, what's going on here and what needs to be done to protect our women online? We are joined by the Chief Executive of the Centre for Countering Digital Hate, Imran Ahmed, this morning out of Washington, out of LA. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Imran. How are you?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, really good. I mean, this is horrific, some of these stats that are coming out. But before we talk about the responsibilities of social media platforms, can we just start by talking about the kinds of messages that women are receiving? And you know, here's the thing, Ahmed, it's unsurprising to me that we have people who are sitting on the other end of a keyboard spitting hate. So how confronting are these messages that you canvassed for this study?
Well, we studied around 9,000 messages sent to 5 prominent women over some months, and we found that 1 in 15 were in breach of the company's own community standards, their rules on what you can send. They were either one-word misogynist abuse, they were extremely explicit images and videos and audio messages, or they were death threats and threats of violence. And that's just an enormous amount for people to have to face. You can't see what's happening until you've actually clicked the video. And by then it's too late. You've been exposed to something horrifying.
Why these 5 women, including actor Amber Heard, a UK television presenter, an activist and a magazine founder, why did they want to be part of this study?
Well, I mean, the funny thing is that a lot of studies look at public abuse of women or black people or LGBT people. And what I kept hearing in conversations was, you think that's bad, wait till you see my DMs. And we thought, well, is there a way in which we can put together a study that looks at scale at what really happens in DMs, but also what happens, because Instagram and other platforms, they've made it clear that they know this is a problem. They said they were going to fix this. In February 2021, Instagram said, we take seriously the problem of abuse by DM. We will ban people that breach our rules. And we wanted to test, is that true? Because women were saying to us, it isn't. And what we systematically showed by approaching these 5 women who are amazing, and they gave us their trust to let us download their DMs, report the hate that we saw there, go back and audit what action had been taken. I mean, we found that Instagram is just failing women, full stop, because a safe space for abusers is an unsafe space for, frankly, all of us. And I guess that was going to be my next point. Whilst 5 high-profile women were involved in the study, actually, this isn't just about high-profile women. This is about all women, right? What's been amazing about the report launch is seeing so many other people come forward and say, you know, this hashtag hidden hate that CCDH are writing about, we're facing it too. And I think that what's interesting as well is it's not just women that have come forward. We've seen people of color, we've seen LGBT people, we've seen a lot of people who feel that they've been in the sightlines of abusers who seek to silence the voices of those who are unlike them. And a tiny number of bad people can cause an enormous amount of harm, terrorizing millions of people off platform for their identity. It's unacceptable that one of the main ways in which we communicate with each other, we establish our brands, we transact commerce these days, social media, is being cleansed of people that aren't white, male, cis and straight.
I want to talk about Instagram and your findings. We're actually getting in, so people are actually writing in. So during this interview with you, we've got our viewers here in Aotearoa that are messaging us, telling us about what they've received and also what they've actually done in terms of being able to switch off things. So let's talk about Instagram. You talk about the failures, system failures with that platform. Talk to us about those failures.
Well, at a very fundamental level, they're allowing messages to get through to people as message requests, which can contain hateful misinformation. When you then report those messages, the platform isn't taking action in 9 out of 10 instances. So someone sending a violent death threat is being given a yellow card and being told one more time. So, one more horrific video of you, a graphically explicit video, and maybe we'll take action against you. But what we're also finding is that things like audio messages, they're really difficult. Well, they're impossible to report. Things like video messages, there's no way of assessing who it's from or what their intention might be until you've already been exposed to the harm. So there's just a systematic failure. It feels like a system that's designed where the reporting system is kind of like they've put an alarm bell, but the alarm bell isn't connected to an actual alarm or anyone on the other side. There's no fire engine coming. And at the same time, the alarm bell is kind of, it's an afterthought rather than building safety by design. And typically when you launch a product that will allow people to connect themselves with other people without permission, you'd be thinking about safety as your first thing. You'd be thinking, well, this could be abused very easily. They really haven't put the safety of women or other vulnerable groups at the heart of their thinking, and that's unacceptable.
And I think I know the answer to this question, but how have Instagram actually responded to your study?
The usual way, which is ironically gaslighting and saying, no, there isn't a problem. We fixed it in February 21. And they haven't. And so it's frustrating. I would have hoped they would have responded by saying, thank you for highlighting a problem. Like, you've identified it, and you know what? We're going to fix it. Instead, what they've done is said, oh, we've already fixed it. And women are just turning around and going, well, clearly you haven't, because they just found a whole bunch of problems.
Imran, we have to wrap this up in around about a minute. But my final question is around how we can protect ourselves. And I guess this is twofold in terms of personally, but also as a country, what more do we need to be doing and implementing and putting in place?
Well, I think New Zealand's been at the forefront of legislating and persuading people to build an international framework to deal with online harms. We've just hired a head of policy at the Centre for Countering Digital Hate in Washington, D.C., who's been working with the New Zealand government on post-Christchurch social media policy. And so I think that it requires leadership from politicians to say, we will hold you accountable, social media companies, if you allow harm to be created. That there has to be a cost with that to disincentivize you from behaving in a negligent, reckless way. And to social media companies, just remember, look, this could be your sister, your mum, your daughter. Like, are you really sure this is the world you want them to have to live in which they are constantly faced with a wall of abuse if they try and actualize themselves as human beings? It's just unacceptable. We deserve better.
Yeah. Gosh, you've been a fantastic guest this morning, Imran. Cannot thank you enough for the work that you are doing and for the time that you have given us this morning. Thank you so much, Imran Ahmed, Chief Executive of the Centre for Countering Digital Hate. Thank you so much for your time.